Hello, everybody. Well, man, Swad's here. This is the second time I'm trying to make this video because the last time I tried making the weather forecast and what we're gonna see and everything from today, if the video ended up being longer than 15 minutes, and apparently if you're not verified on YouTube, then your video gets completely just abandoned for uploading. So yeah. So anyway, since Monday and stuff, we have seen pop-up storms and stuff. The chances for those 20 to 30%. And we've had some of these pop-up storms like these and stuff just be non-severe, just bringing areas about a quarter of an inch of rain to about half an inch, maybe even a couple of areas with like an inch to maybe 1.5 inches of rain, about eastern Kentucky and just central Kentucky, and a couple of areas north of Lily on western Kentucky. But yeah. So, anyways, today we could see pop-up storms at this area. Yeah, in the microscope discussion for heavy rainfall that is going to expire in 6 hours, have potential pop-up storms that could bring 3 inches of rain an hour. And what's fueling this is our heat index that's reaching into the high 90s, into the low hundreds, which I believe our heat indexes could reach like 102, maybe 103, but that's all I would go. This could also be. I've also seen a little bit of these issue special weather statements. Most of these are 40-mile-an-hour winds. Maybe some of them could get up to like 50 to 55, but 60-mile-an-hour winds, fairly rarely. Some of these also bringing quarter of an inch of hail to penny-sized hail, which is about half an inch. So, yeah, if I go in and look at this, this says we're gonna have a strong surface-based heating leading to our Cape values ranging between 2,000 to 3,000 turns a kilogram, which could develop thunderstorms with no assurance of available instability. Some areas looking at this, what was it at? This would be here. Yeah, lab macro scale analysis shows Tuesday personal weather stations surpassing 2 inches and then the Tennessee Valley and Cumberland Plateau, but mostly you're gonna see a 1.5 to 1.75. But it's mostly a 1.5 to 1.75 inches of rain in the southern Appalachians. What this is saying. So yeah. Some of this we're gonna see. I would say for this whole area, we'll see about 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches with some of these pop-up storms that come through. Now, these will most likely only be pop-up storms. Some of these, I have seen a little bit of these like combined into like a wall of just moderate light to moderate rain, and even a small little bit of clusters of heavier rain, of just white heavy rain, practically, like fairly heavily fairly moderate to white heavy rain. And we'll also have we also have a bit of these just bringing up to fleet, having possibility for fleet, with some of these also having potential to reach 3 inches of rain an hour, well, producing 3 inches of rain an hour, and up to 50 to 55-mile-an-hour wind gust. And I'd say penny size would be all we would need. A really penny-sized hail would be practically the limit for hail and stuff. Maybe up to like 0.75 inches for hail, but that's fairly unlikely. Most of these are not going to be severe. We are not expecting any severe weather for most of it. There is a fairly small chance we could receive 50 to 55 mile an hour gust, but that's all I would say for that. And our hail only about a quarter of an inch to about half an inch of hail. So we have that going. Now, this whole week it's been fairly hot. We have seen temperature. Our temperatures have risen. Has stayed steady at into the high 80s. Couple of areas reaching into the not into the low 90s. Even areas like up here in Covington and Indianapolis and Independence near Cincinnati, Ohio, reaching in the high 90s. And I would not be surprised if the heat indexes over in this area has reached about 105. So it has been hot for northern Kentucky, and it's been hot for all of Kentucky. We've had most of the heat, from what I've seen, surprisingly, it's been more of the low 90s to like low mid 90s in eastern Kentucky and stuff. But it has been a fairly swampy couple of days, and we've had the Popup storm chances of 20 to 40% each day, and it's what about a quarter of an inch of rain to about half an inch, and maybe some other areas have gone like an inch to about 1.25 inches of rain. But that's all I'd say for that. Since I believe Sunday, flooding and stuff. Since I didn't really get to mention it and stuff. Since I didn't really since the last forecast I made was the day before. Oh my god, all these rainfall totals and stuff. So it's been a little while, and I'm trying to make this forecast as fast as I can so I can stay under the 15-minute recording upload thing. I have about 8 minutes, so yeah, I'm pretty good on that. So anyways, in areas like Bowling Green, we've seen 5.5 to 6 inches of rain from last weekend in rainfall and stuff, bringing a whole lot of flooding into the city, into low-lying areas, into rivers and stuff. In Bowling Green, well, in Bowling Green, it's more like 5 to 5.5 inches. Still a lot of rain. Actually, maybe 4.5 to about 5.25 inches. That seems more about right. And then about east of that, in like Columbia, Glasgow, we've actually seen 5.5 to 6 inches of rainfall. So a whole lot of flooding in low-lying areas and stuff that's happened last weekend. And then over here, let me go down to Lewisburg. Yes, right here in this area, the Lake Malone spillway flooded last week because we had 4.5 to 5 inches of rain. So the Lake Malone spillway completely flooded over a whole lot of rainfall over in this area. Brought a whole lot of flash flooding and stuff. Was not quite at all. Just brought a whole lot of rain. Not at all what you want to see and stuff, but we had a whole lot of rain in these areas in Kentucky. So yeah, but I think I've said everything I needed to say. Hey, but yeah, we could expect, but we'll see these pop-up chances stay in the 20 to 30% fertile until I believe Saturday night, maybe into Sunday morning. But yeah, so I'll continue to keep an eye on this. As we go into next week. We'll still see temperatures up in the upper 80s and stuff. And then we'll see some of the temperatures get into the lower 90s for a couple of days in western Kentucky. And we'll see how temperatures also get into the lower 90s to even the lower mid 90s in eastern Kentucky, central Kentucky. Yeah, we'll see upper to lower 90s as well, and then up in Cincinnati and stuff, Independence, Covington, and Kentucky, we can see how temperatures get back into the mid 90s to the upper 90s again, which I would not be surprised if we see the 100 to 105 heat indexes up here for this year. But yeah, once we get past Thursday next week, apparently there's a cold front comes in. I believe it would bring up our chances for showers and storms and stuff, but mostly it's gonna cool down our temperatures into the low to mid 70s and bring our lows into the high of 50s and stuff for the overnight hours and stuff. And we will continue to see this, I believe, until Sunday, because once we get back into Monday, the warm air comes right back up. It starts off by bringing our temperatures back into the high of 70s again, and then by the next day, we're back into the lower 80s, into the mid 80s, and and then by Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll start to see the high 80s come back, and then we'll start to see high to low 90 degrees to start to hit Western Kentucky and Eastern Kentucky and Northern Kentucky and stuff like that again. So yeah, so that's what we have going on throughout this week and into next week. So have a good day, everybody. Be prepared. Stay hydrated. Stay calm. Keep yourself plenty hydrated. Put on your sunglasses, your hat, sunscreen. Stay hot, cause these temperatures are gonna stay until I believe next Thursday, and then it'll cool down for a little bit. That'll bring some but nice relief until not next Monday, but the Monday after that, and yeah. So keep an eye on that. I'll continue, but keep an eye on the temperatures and stuff, because it'll be fairly hot. Keep yourself hydrated. Take all the steps take all the precautions to stay cool and stuff during all these warm heats. Keep an eye out on these pop-up storms and stuff. Could reach up to 3 inches an hour of rain with some of these pop-ups and stuff today. 50 to 55 mile an hour wind gusts could happen. Fairly unlikely, but could happen in the day. And we could also see about penny-sized hail, which is about half an inch of hail today. From areas like Lexington, Richmond was actually like I said, 50 mile an hour wind gusts, and then you have kernel-sized hail and Nicholasville, and then you have a special weather statement for Roll Crushed Branch, Alcorn, and areas like that. And then you have one for Wetburg, Pedals, Clove, Awful Springs, and Coalfield. Yet again, 40 mile an hour wind gusts with half an inch of hail. Then you have a couple of storms down here that'll bring some heavy rain and stuff. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. Well, overall, gonna be a bit of a messy for rain and stuff. And gonna be a lot, and we're gonna continue to see swampy conditions. So have a good day, everybody. And this is Wellman Swans out.